Good evening. Oh, just flipped me a bit there, Stephen.
I like the
Good
play,
evening.
boys.
How we doing?
All good.
Very well.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone that's watching as well. By the way, you totally threw me there, Stephen. Literally, you threw me right out of the screen. How are we doing anyway? How's the day been?
Work was quite interesting today, but I won't go into that. But now I'm sitting chilling out, having a few beers with you guys. Going to talk Celtic. Happy as Larry, lads. Happy as Larry.
Mine's alright. I'm just back my holiday, but I was looking forward to watching the golf today, but it was obviously called off, so I just sat about and scratched my buzz. So
well, amongst other things, obviously we know that the football's obviously we know the football's off this weekend as well. And the official statement for the SFA was football's off. That's that.
End of statement.
Tell you what, if this podcast work doesn't work out, you could get a newsreader job, no bother, Ross.
Quite easily, by the way.
Not after that start.
Aye, but in the news you didn't get through about the screen. Anyway, we'll start off the night. Excuse me. Just going over the Super Six. So, I mean, apparently I'm shite at this game now, but hey ho. I'll just run through the sort of top five. So the number one joint is Franny and Alistair Jack, both on 71 points. So Franny's back in the top again. That just doesn't sit well with me. I mean, I didn't like Franny anyway, but I really don't like him when he's at the top of the league.
He's definitely
there must be a random generator.
A random
right,
what?
Mate. There must be like a random score generator he can press. He can't be predicting scores, man. He knows fuck all about football.
Okay, money.
Monty loves it. Monty loves it.
They wouldn't get through the wee window, I'd tell them all. Snaffle.
Can they do it anyway? Fucking ice cream machine's never working.
Aye.
You can tell me about it, by the way. Trying to get a milkshake out of that place. It's mental, like.
You're keeping KFC and going. Never mind McDonald's.
You're a fucking 20% shareholder.
Full fat Coke as I treat myself, boys.
Aye. Aye. So second place, Sean Ross. I think he was top last week, so he's dropped down. He's in 68 points. Then we've got our very own Willet on 67. And we've got number. James Bowie and Ryan Taylor on 61. And Mark Maguire in 5th place on 59. I'm hot in the heels, 54 points I'm on. Getting closer. And Stephen, you forgot again 2 weeks running because you're a tit.
Reminds us every week too.
Aye.
Reminds whoever's hosting. Whoever's hosting. Remember and tell everybody to do their Super 6 can't even pick his own results.
Oh God. I don't know what it is. I convinced myself to do it, but then you've got me a cracker today because I thought I'd done mine midweek and I was looking and I was like, fuck, busted.
Hate to take 5 points off Franny though, mind.
How's that?
Because he took a Real Madrid win in the Super 6.
Oh, aye, that's right. We'll just
just
make a note of that now.
Just dock 5 points there.
Can you block someone from like a championship or not? I don't know. Can you do
that? I mean, I worked out to send a Skype link tonight, so I'll be able to get in. All on my own. Didn't even ask Sharon to help me.
No help required.
Right, listen, we'll get into it, or this is going to run into 2 hours. We didn't want that. Anyway, so obviously we had the European exploits tonight. Massive game, Real Madrid. Just we'll sort of do a sort of overview of the match, but I mean, even before a ball was kicked, I looked at as the camera panned across. You looked at some of the players. You looked at Abada, obviously young. You looked a bit nervous, sort of told in that first half. But as the camera panned across, it sort of you seen Jota, and O'Reilly, and for me, they just looked right at home. You could tell by their faces they were just embracing it, and they just looked right at home. I thought we done well for 40 minutes, and I was really, really proud of the team. But just coming to you first, Stephen, how did you think Kings went on the night?
I mean, the whole spectacle leading up to it, obviously smashing your nearest rivals 4-0 on the Saturday, and then you've got the European champions come to paradise on a Tuesday. I mean, fantastic week for the club, regardless of the result. And I know we're going to get further into it and stuff, and a wee bit of detail on player performances and that. But like, I mean, you looked at it when the Champions League anthem started. The players they were all like buzzed up. They were happy. Joe Hart was back in his natural environment. And as you said, the likes of Jada and O'Reilly seemed to embrace it. The smile on their faces said it all. And even you pan across to the Madrid players, and they're all like, I think Alaba at one point was just looking around them, being like, what the hell's going on here? Because that roar, even when you're watching on the TV screen, it's deafening, and it's just magic. It's the magic of Celtic Park on a European night. I thought you nailed it for 45 minutes of the game. It wouldn't have been bad. Like, it wouldn't have been a bad thing to see Celtic 2 up at half time if we took our chances, if we're honest. Like, I thought Abada in the first half had a cracking chance, but again, did the occasion maybe get to him and he freaked out at the finish? We don't know that. He's a young boy. He's still up and coming. The Callum McGregor shot off the post, if that goes in, the roof is going to be tore off Celtic Park. Like, you wouldn't be hearing nothing. That goal would have been spectacular. The lead-up play that was fantastic. And getting into the second half as well, I don't want to obviously say too much because no, we're getting into it, but getting into the second half, I think their quality just came through in the end, and it's no real shame. I mean, they're the European champions. They played Liverpool off the park, and the likes of Valverde, he played a big part in that win in the Champions League final. And funny enough, he set up their first goal for Vinicius, much like he did against Liverpool to win it. So again, it's no shame. You're playing against superstars, and for me, like, I was sitting with my granddad, and we kind of disagreed a bit because he is. We're both like each other in a way. We're kind of hot-headed. We're like, what? We need to compete at this level. But when you strip it back and you look at it, 3-0 loss against Real Madrid, you'd be usually, back in the day, you'd be going, what's going on? Why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? But the fact we took our style of play, we were brave. Every forward pass hit. Jota was taking on Carvajal. Abada didn't give Mendy a minute. And Giamakis for me was absolutely fantastic. And it led it to their centre-back, Militel, being took off because he didn't have a clue where he was at points. But again, overall, it was a fantastic experience. And I think the real test is going to come against Leipzig and Shakhtar Donetsk.
Aye, I mean, that's where, before a ball was kicked, you felt like you were going to be able to pick up points. But like you sort of said there, we lost the game 3-0, and I wasn't raging because, like you say, we played our way and took the game to them for as long as we could. And like you say, if we took our chances, I would have gave them something to think about. You go up 2-0, it's not to say you'll go on and win the game for there, because they're that good a side that they could come back for that. But again, we played our football, and there was no glaring mistakes in the match, which was pleasing. Nobody gave the way out, like the goals, nobody gave the ball away like in a silly position, or it was a mistake for the keeper. It was just a wee bit of bad luck and good play.
I think when you look at the goals, like in isolation, there was mistakes in my opinion. It looked like there was a
we'll get
rustle
to
of blood to the head.
Aye. Calm down, Stephen. But aye, coming to you, Wally, off the back of that, I mean, Stephen sort of touched on a couple of chances early in the match. Obviously, Abada had one. Giacomakis laid it off to him. I don't think he realised how much time he had. Even I didn't at the time, but on seeing it again, he maybe had a bit more time. Then you've got the McGregor one. I mean, I've seen that about 10 to 15 times since, and every time, I think it's got to go in every time. He hit it that well. He couldn't have hit it any better. But I mean, they were the sort of two early chances. How were you sort of feeling as they chances went a begging?
I was in an airport in Lanzarote, scrambling like mad, hoping that my flight was delayed, which thankfully it was. Managed to get in a wee pub in the airport, and I'm sitting watching it with the wife. And the wife's when we were in Lanzarote, we went to always mate. We went to Bar 67 for the Derby game, and it was brilliant. And the wife, she gets right into the football too, so she's always asking questions, and that's the first thing I say to her at half time. I was like, she's like, that was brilliant. I thought we made the reigning Champions League champions, European champions look very ordinary the first half. I thought we were brilliant in the press and we played the Andrew style like he said we would. And you've got it bang on. That's exactly what I said to the wife at half time. I was like, see, at this level, you can't miss these chances. You need to put them away. But at half time, I was absolutely you had to scrape me off the ceiling. I was bouncing about, thinking like I thought we were excellent in that first half. I couldn't believe how good we were against them. The press was great, and again, their class showed through in the end, and like some of the goals were maybe a wee bit disappointing, but getting caught in the counter. But it's always going to happen with Andrew Stell and the way we press. And just to go to what Stephen was saying with his granddad, I mean, I kind of feel the same because normally 3-0, you're thinking that's a doing. One, it was never a 3-0 game, and I thought that flattered them a bit. But I came away thinking, second place is ours. If we play like that every Champions League game we're playing this season, that second place we is definitely well within our reach because I thought we were excellent. And if you're coming away against the European champions, it's strange coming away. Like when you said it, Ross, you come away with a 3-0 defeat and you're not too unhappy. No, don't get me wrong. After the second goal went in, I was absolutely deflated because I was on such a high after that first half, thinking we're going to do these, boys. I couldn't believe how well we played the first half. I was super deflated, but on reflection, you're looking at it. So happy we played the football we played, and just for the future, for the rest of the tournament, it's given us so much hope for qualifying for the knockout rounds. I just think if we play like that, I think we've got a right good chance of qualifying in that second spot. And at the end of the day, you need to be clinical. I think Ange said it in his presser. You need to be clinical at this level. We didn't put away the chances, and in the end, it ended up with what looked like a damaging defeat. But very proud of the boys, like you said, and looking forward to the Champions League campaign going forward because I think we're in a really, really, really good position.
Aye, just sort of touching on what you said there, like. It was weird. You lose 3-0. Like before a ball was kicked, you're looking at that group and you're thinking to yourself, if we get third, it's a good effort. Second, it's maybe a bit of a stretch, but we could do it. You come off the back of losing 3-0 at home to Real Madrid, and now you're believing you can finish second. It's bizarre, but silly, we played so well in that first half that against what you would perceive as lesser opposition than Real Madrid, and you have to say as a lesser opposition, you've got to fancy your chances if we bring that level of play again. But Steve, moving into the sort of second half, another chance goes a begging. Maeda this time, it's fired into him. He's just on the park. But excuse me, do you think he should do better with that chance and just sort of describe your sense of pride? I know you sort of alluded to it, but sort of describe your sense of pride as basically going toe-to-toe for 48 minutes with the reigning champions.
I think, if we're brutally honest, like Maeda should have done far better with that chance. I mean, on that level, as Willie rightly said, you have to be clinical. And I thought, by the way, Juranovic was excellent. He put the ball in all game. He was charging up and down that right-hand side, and he dealt well with Vinicius when he had to. Obviously, there was that goal when he scored it, kind of left his man, but then things happened at this level as well against the top level opposition in Real Madrid. But get into the second half. I mean, half time, I was calm and made a wee cup of tea for me and my granda and my wee brother-in-law. We were sitting watching it and having a wee chat on all half time as we usually do. And there was no kind of sense of being anxious or being like we're going to get smashed. Although it's quite strange because I was actually saying this during the week as well in work. Like Real Madrid aren't like a flashy team with like loads of skills, loads of flair players. They're workman, like they've got a few individuals who are obviously world class, but they know how to get the job done. And what I felt they'd done just in the second half was they sucked all the energy out of us, right? And then once our legs went and the subs weren't made and made and all stuff come on, but obviously like O'Reilly and stuff like that, they're starting to drain in energy levels, and it just felt like they took advantage of that. They knew what to do in that period, and it leads to the first goal when we were caught out in the counter, as well. He said Taylor's trying to run with Valverde, and it was a mismatch and gets whipped in, and Vinicius comes in from the left hand side and puts it past Joe Hart quite easy, but to be honest, but I just think in terms of Real Madrid, just the suck the energy out of us, they waited their time, they bided their time, and unfortunately we didn't take our chances because let's be honest, we had like 5 glorious chances to take a goal in that game, and just unfortunately that it didn't break us. And I seen a comment there about Kyogo. If Made and Abada's chance went to him, Kyogo would have finished. I probably agree, but Kyogo wasn't 100% fit, so he was on the bench, and Yakamaka's he done a job in his absence. Like, but yeah, Real Madrid does suck the energy out of us, and for the last 30 minutes, they kind of toyed with us, if we're honest. Like, the bullied us off the pitch.
It's their game management, really, because like Celtic, like we said, they went for it and they had their chances. They didn't take them. I don't want to say Real Madrid were caught cold because I think they were expecting Celtic, because Celtic didn't get as much joy in terms of getting the ball back onto the park quick, taking corners quick, as what they did against Rangers. So I think Real Madrid were ready for it and handled it obviously better than what Rangers did, as you would expect. But their game management, once they got that goal, even before they got that goal, towards the end of the first half, you could see them sort of, their passing was more crisp and the class did take over. Sort of brings me on to really their first goal. Willie, coming to you. I mean, I've not seen it again, but I felt at the time, and I felt the crowd maybe thought there was a hint of a back pass right before the build-up. Do you remember that, and what did you think yourself?
I didn't notice at the time, mate, to be honest with you, but I have seen clips of it since, and I don't know, I think it's grasping at straws a wee bit, to be honest with you, for what I've seen. I've only seen the clip in isolation, but because I'm only saying that because at the time, live, I never noticed it, and I'd have been screaming for it if I thought that was the case. But yeah, I think Stevens nailed it. I think that's Ancelotti's style. I think it was the same as AC Milan teams back in the day as well. Very hard to beat. It's all workhorses. It was Seedorfs and even Kakas and stuff in the middle of the park, and Shevchenko's not so much flashy players, but just top quality. And Modric is 37 now. He just absolutely just ran the show. You don't win a Ballon d'Or. You don't win a Ballon d'Or in our era if you're not a good player, because there's 2 that have dominated it in the last 10, 15 years, and it's difficult to win one, and he's won one, and there's no qualms with me about it because he's a class player. And I think I totally agree with what Stephen was saying. And I think Tony Kroos alluded to it as well in his post-match presser. He says that they were kind of taken aback by the noise in the crowd, and he says we needed to kind of what's the word he was used? Needed to kind of ride the wave in the first 25 minutes and just kind of like waft and just hanging in there. And then once they got a foothold of the game, though, it was only going to go one way. But I mean, like you say, and I've been saying it every week on the podcast and domestically as well. If we get an early goal, I think we even go up a gear or two, and we're like, right, let's put the foot on the throat now and just finish it. And I think if we did get that early goal, we might have, like we say, the result might have been different, but we just weren't clinical enough. And at this level, it's just you're going to get punished for it. I just thought they were excellent, and on the counter there was, and against our press as well. I said this to the wife again before the game. I said our press it's unbelievable, like the work that they put in, and how they go in threes and put pressure on people. And the Derby game, it worked a treat because we're playing against lesser abilities, and they're going to make mistakes. Real Madrid played 2 passes and they've taken 4 or 5 of our players out the game, and that's them on a counter, and it's a totally different level. But saying that, like I say, I thought we were excellent, really do. It's just a shame that I think we did run out of legs, and it's understandable the amount of work they put in. I thought O'Reilly in the press was as good as I've ever seen him. He won back the ball several times. I thought he was absolutely immense. I thought Giacomakis worked his socks off. He's an absolute. I would hate to go up against him. He's absolutely has centre halves and sixes and sevens. It's just unfortunate Calmac, and it's a matter of millimetres, a couple of millimetres right, and it actually goes in rather than coming out off the post. And I always stick a wee 10 on. I'm scoring from outside the box, so I was absolutely devastated at that as well.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the press here. I noticed that myself, O'Reilly. So good in the early stages, but it's like you say, if McGregor won,
See quickly. Sorry, my granddad's come in. This is what I'm talking about, right? So he said, "Hi boys, great game. Jada was crap already. Had a terrible game. Celtic ran out of steam. Missed their chances first half. This is the issue. Like when you're watching it on the screen, O'Reilly tends to stand off the player, which is fair enough because he's not a tackler, and it looks like he's just letting it go past. But I think the press is a lot more than that. No, but 100%. But I think the press is a lot more. As well, he said they're going in frees. Usually, already has McGregor beside him and Hatate, put them in the areas where they want to be. I just think it's great to see different people's opinions, though, isn't it? In terms of conceptions of what they see.
I mean, I watch O'Reilly. I don't know. It was actually a really good piece on Sports Scene after the Celtic and Rangers game. And if you watch O'Reilly, he starts to press, but then he's looking over his shoulder all the time to see if everybody's going with him. And if they're not going with him, he'll kind of hold. But I think I was going to say, if McGregor's one goes in, it puts an extra maybe 20 minutes in the legs. There's only so many times you can press, and when they press domestically, they tend to win the ball back. There's only so many times in a game you can press and get passed through. Didn't happen in the early stages, but it started to happen all the time, and it's because we were running out of steam. You could see it, but this is the difference. This is the levels. I mean, touching on the first goal, Stephen. I mean, after what's a possible back pass, it wasn't given. I don't know if they've looked at VAR, but they've not gave it. After that, you've still got to do your job. No, I'm not slagging anybody by any stretch. You alluded to earlier, you thought there was mistakes made. So, I mean, do you think Jens could have done better on the halfway line, or was it just a really well-worked goal?
I think the first goal in particular was well worked. The mistakes for me started creeping in more when the legs went and the kind of heads went down towards the latter parts of the game. But I want to come to the comments here, and then I'll say, I mean, there is a wee bit of support from what McGrand was saying. Joe Finley, Jada was starstruck first quarter of the game. And it did take me a while to come into it, I thought, to be fair, so that's a fair point. Monty's bringing up Hatate and things like that, but we are going to come on to that, and I'm sure Ross is as well. But in terms of the first goal, it was just well worked. I mean, it was much like the Champions League goal in the final. Valverde on the right-hand side just rips Taylor for pace and smashes the ball, not like a Jada pass, like if you just whip it across. You've seen that so many times, just getting Kyogo on the end of the ball, and then Vinicius running from deep from left-hand side, and he just plants it in the bottom left corner. And I just thought, like when you have Vinicius, when you have Valverde, and it's so hard. The concentration levels they have to be top. And at one point, and just that one slight moment when you switch off, they're taking it. They're in, as Willie said, 2 passes, and they're cutting us open at will at times in that second half. And I think that's where the first goal came from.
Aye. No, I mean, I tend to agree with that. You look at it, you're saying that, like, their clinical, I think they had maybe 4, possibly 5 shots on goal. They took 3 of them. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Celtic didn't take any. That's the difference. But I would have to agree with you. I was just sort of asking if you thought that was where a mistake was made. I have to agree with you. I thought it was a really well-worked goal, the first one. Jens, he tries to sort of just get tight. Maybe gets a wee bit too tight, but you can't really slag him for it. And the ball in and the run for Vinicius just makes it, and it's a class goal.
I think Jens was better than Vickers in the league, by the way. That's my opinion.
I
think he was.
I mean, I thought that both of them played fairly well, both done their jobs. I didn't think anybody was better than the other, but I thought they done well. What do you think on the centre half pair? Just to go off topic a wee bit there, Wally.
I think it's like I like Jens. I like, for me, Starfelt's been really good since he came in. It's a really good choice to have, to be honest with you. But I didn't think either looked out of place. To be fair, I think in this system and Andrew's style, we're going to be open to the counter. I don't think you can point fingers at any, like you said, any individuals for any of the goals. I have to give a big shout out to Joe Hart's save as well, by the way. We were warned with Vinicius coming in on that left because we were warned before he got the goal, and because he was clean through and Joe Hart made a great save. But Juranovic is another one that, like, for me in recent weeks, I've thought Ralston might be a shout to come back in because whenever he comes in, he's always excellent. I know it's domestically, and Juranovic, I think he's a different class player. I think he can play anywhere in the park. But I don't know if defensively he's quite sound enough for me. He's like a Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm not. By the way, I'm not comparing him with Trent. Well, I am because he's terrible.
Trent's been shite.
But
let's be honest there.
In the sense of going forward and very technical and that I think that's the type of player he is. Coming back the way, I'm not so sure. But I thought he was excellent defensively on Tuesday night. Yeah. I thought he did a great job. I was actually really surprised. I thought he did a really good job in Vinicius.
But I just trust him more defensively than Ralston because he's pace.
Aye.
He's frightening quick.
He is. I thought he was excellent on Tuesday night as well. But I quite like that. That for me that would be my first 11 anyway. The centre defensive pair, and I really like Jens. I think he looks so comfortable on the ball coming out for the back. And again, he's got pace to burn as well. He's a big lad. Mm-hmm. He's obviously got an eye for a goal. He's got a couple of goals already for us this season. For me, that would be my first central defensive pairing. But for that first goal, I don't think. I think to answer your question, Stephen, as well. I don't think we're always going to be susceptible to losing a goal like that with the way we press. And I don't think you can point fingers at anyone. I mean, like there was neither centre half was in our box when the ball got crossed in. But it's because we are so high up the pitch when we're pressing. I don't think you can point fingers at either of them. I just think it's just world class. It's 2 or 3 passes and they were in, and it was an easy finish.
It's quick, as you say, 2 or 3 passes and they're right up the park. I was just reading that there. He's bang on. We've come so far in such a short period of time, and it's down to one man. But immensely proud of the team. Just coming back to you, Wally, we'll go over the second goal. It's weird going over goals in a game, and it's the ones we've conceded rather than the ones we've scored.
Unscored.
What's in this Pepsi Max?
Have you turned into me now? Is it what?
It must be that top left side of the screen. Coming to you, Wally, in the second goal. Again, we lose it on the halfway line. I say that, but
like I said earlier, challenge though.
The most pleasing part for me is, like I said earlier, there's no glaring mistakes. They're challenging for the ball. It's a poor ricochet, but I mean, again, is there anything you felt we could have done better in that goal? Possibly at a push for me. There's not a lot, but maybe a stronger hand for Hart. But sort of talk us through it and see what you give your thoughts.
I mean, like you say, it was a good. I don't know who. I can't remember who made the hard challenge though. Monty's looking at that again. There
my hand and take it off Monty's jaw.
There was a cracking crunching challenge in the middle of the park. I can't remember who it was, and the balls just broke. Was it? And the balls broke to their midfielder. I think probably we're high up the pitch, but I think Jens might probably gets beat a wee bit too easy for me in them as they're coming into our half. And then I don't know if you can point the finger at Taylor. He does dive in, but like Modric is ready to hit the target, and most defenders are going to try and block it for there. And Modric is different class, and he just beats a couple of them and puts it. You're probably right. Joe Hart could maybe get a stronger hand to it. Out of the 3 goals, that's probably the one I'd be most disappointed with. I think there's 2 or 3 phases of play that we could probably stop it. But Modric's touch and he sits Taylor down, and then I think Jens gets back and he sits him down as well. Yeah. And then places it by. So I think there is 2 or 3 phases of play that we could have probably stopped it, but I wouldn't be chastising any of the players, to be fair.
Aye, well, for me, I think we're unlucky in the middle of the park. CCV goes in for the challenge. Giacomakis is coming the other way. It sort of CCV actually wins the ball, if I remember right, and then it sort of ricochets out and it falls into the path of, I don't remember what Real Madrid player it was, to be honest with you, but it falls into his path, and then the play opens up for there. They get a bit of space, then he gets beyond Jens. I actually think, I don't know if Modric has a goal and then it sort of comes back to him and it falls for him perfectly. It's moments like that, just wee ricochets and bobbles, and if they go for a team of that class, they're going to punish you. Again, Stephen, just coming at you with the same sort of question. Was there anything you felt we could have done better?
I think Willie nailed it there. There was like different phases of play where we could have stopped that goal. And what's quite heartening for me is, bar the first goal, the other two can be stopped by shoring up a wee bit better defensively. And that's a good point to make there, because you look at it and you're thinking, well, the 3 goals, if you're an outsider going, did the cut us open at will? I think the last 2 goals, the second one in particular for me, it's like a rush of blood to the head. There was a lot of panic that set in. There was 2 challenges in the middle of the pitch that we lost. It broke out and Modric ends up with it at the edge of the box, and Taylor kind of dives at it and he misses and he gets planted by Modric, and then Jens gets back, by the way, which is a fantastic recovery one, but he didn't stay on his feet. He just fell back, kind of putting his left foot out, trying to nick it away with his toe. And then Modric is trademark outside the right foot. I thought, for me, Joe Hart, not being critical of him, but I think he should have saved that, if I'm honest.
I agree.
There's not lots of power on it for me. It's not like it's banged into the bottom left. It's kind of they just touched and they kind of toe poked it outside the right foot. I thought his hand was a bit weak. He could have tipped around the post if he probably in a better position. But that's where I'm coming back to the point where it wasn't as if Real Madrid took us and kind of ragdolled us and we were getting cut open at will. There was just a wee bit of naivety set in, wee bit of panic stations that we're probably believing it's nil each in the 60th minute, blah, blah, blah. We can hold on, we can get a victory. And then as soon as that goes, it's like, boom, downhill. And then the legs start getting sapped. And you can see the players just kind of not looking at the clock, but wishing the game will end. And Real Madrid, again, the class that Modric and Kroos just controlled the midfield from that point. And I'll go back to I thought Joe Hart should have saved it. I can't really say anything. I really do.
I think the big thing about the goal is... Sorry, buddy. I've watched the back a few times, and I really think Joe Hart, I think he's got caught with the movement of Modric, and he's moved himself, and he's put his weight on his other leg, and he's trying to come back, and didn't get there in time. But it's a savable chance for me. It's savable. I'd like to see for Modric, like it just shows a difference in class between. And I'm no way having a go at Abada here, by the way, because he's been absolutely immense for us this season, and he's 20 years old. And I can't believe the talent he is. He's honestly, I think he's going to be a top player. But we've got his chance, and I think Ross, like you said, I don't think he realises he's got as much time as he does. He could take a touch. I think he probably could have actually lifted it over the keeper now as well. So he's had that chance there, and it's a far easier chance than Modric's. Modric's got 2 or 3 players coming back at him. He fakes the shot, puts 2 on their arse and puts it away, and I think that's the difference at this level. His is much more difficult, and he just puts 2 players on their arse, like I said, and puts it away. And I wouldn't say how bad this is, like he's panicking or whatever. I just think he doesn't realise he's got as much time, and I think he's probably better as a reactive finisher more than he has when he's got time. He's better at just a bit like Giacomakis, where it's one touch at the back post and just. And I just think that like. That Modric chance wasn't even really a chance. He made it a chance, and just at that level, they're just a top side, and he's a top player. And as much as we can pick out, like I said, wee phases that we maybe could have done better. Sometimes you just need to go, you know what, that's fucking world class.
Aye. Just when you're talking about Abada there, it was a wee bit. I felt at the time it was a wee bit ironic. Obviously, he's missed 8 chances in the first half. He has shat it a wee bit, but he can understand. You can understand, and he's not recovered for it, which again you can understand. But
it was very much like his first Glasgow Derby game.
Aye. But just what Willie's saying there about being a reactive finisher, I think he's bang on there. And the irony is, he comes off at half time, which rightly so, and then 2 minutes into the second half, the chance falls to Maeda. Abada probably takes that.
Aye.
Yeah.
Or
These are,
if that's
again,
Giakoumakis, he's definitely putting that away.
oh,
1,000,000%.
definitely. It just felt to the wrong guy, and it's no slanting Maeda, but he's not the most natural finisher, and he's just on the park. But again, we talk about fine lines, margins. These are what it is at this level, and we've said that about a million times here, but that's just what it is. But on to the third goal. Again, I'm going to ask yourself, Stephen, then Wally, if you think there was anything we could have done better. There's 33 passes. You have to admire that. The final part of it, ball over the top, then squared. Maybe could have done better. I mean, I'll tell you what I think after. I'll come to you, Stephen. What did you think of that goal?
What was it? 37 passes? Was it? Yeah.
33, I think, but
33
30
passes.
something.
But
it was a lot.
if we're honest, at that point, like Celtic were puffing out of their arse. They couldn't move. They couldn't. It was like they were stuck in the mud. And I think that Eden Hazard come on, and also another thing to add into the mix. Like, I don't think Celtic necessarily planned for Hazard to be on the pitch. It was Benzema. They're expecting Karim to play the whole game. Benzema, and he comes off after 20 minutes. And for me, Hazard brought a different kind of dimension to the game. He was just dropping in the holes and he was dragging players out of position. And then for the final goal, a great team play. If we're honest, if Celtic scored a goal like that, I think we did last year at one point, had consecutive passes and it was played over and over again on certain social media channels and stuff like that. But I thought at that point we were done. We were out cold and they kind of played about at will. And like down Taylor's side again, not being down on Taylor, he couldn't have done much, let's be honest. And the ball was whipped in. I don't even think the centre backs are in the box at that point. They weren't on that, and then it was Ranovic left with Hazard, and Hazard dipped off, and he didn't realise where he was. He finished it quite easily, and I just thought we were done. And that's for me the fine margins and that kind of like environment, that kind of football and team you're up against. You need to be switched on. You need to have the energy levels up the whole game. And just unfortunately, at that level, we aren't quite there yet, but it's a building process, and I'm confident we will get there. And has said it, like, we're going to learn from this game. I think O'Reilly said it as well in one of his social media posts. We'll have a lot to learn. We're a bit naive at this level. We're back at the top table. Great performance overall, but two final goals I thought we could have done defensively better at if we're more switched on.
Aye, we're just, as you say, we're knackered by that point. The game's gone.
Joe gets it.
I don't agree with that.
Well, I don't agree with that either. I'll hear for you first, Wally, and then I'll see if I agree with you.
He's got two men at the back post. He needs to pick one. What's he meant to do?
Yep.
He can't just mark two men at the same time. He's got to go.
Can I just hold it there a wee second? So I'm getting a wee bit of comments here. Michael Ross has said a few times for us to move on to the Shakhtar game, but we haven't had time to give our reaction, Michael. I know it's frustrating and stuff, but just stay on with us, have a couple of beers with us, chip in with your opinion as well, and we're happy to hear it, buddy. Go ahead, Willie.
Aye, he's got two men for me. He can't split his cell in two. He's got to make a decision, and he did. There's no way it's his fault for the goal. Like you said, the two centre halves were actually up pressing. They were nowhere to be seen, and nobody's blaming them. But I just think Taylor's getting made to be a scapegoat again. I don't understand what he can do more there. I totally agree with you, Stephen. It's similar to the first goal for me. We were pressing high, and we've been caught with a counter and a good ball, and then because our centre halves are pressed so high, they're nowhere to be seen. I think we were desperate to try to get a goal back, and they've just passed it around. I don't want to say training exercise. I think that's a bit harsh, but the passing and the movement around us, like like it was a training exercise then, Stephen. But it would be interesting to see if, for example, that is a Shakhtar and we're actually leading 1 or 2-0, or well, let's say 1-0, we're leading by a goal. If at that same time in the game we will still be pressing and still like our centre halves will be that high up the pitch, it'd be interesting to see if that's the case. But again, for me, similar to the first goal, it was decent play for them. We were high up the park pressing, and they've just carved us open. But for me, I don't know what more Taylor can do.
I mean, I agree with you there. You look at Taylor, it's like you said, it was 2-on-1. They've got the overload with Valverde at the back post, I think it is. Taylor doesn't know where to come in and look after Hazard or go to Valverde. He's caught. It looks like he's caught in no man's land, but it's through no fault of his, in my opinion. You could say if Jens is a bit more aware, he could shuffle over towards Hazard. Then it stops Taylor from dropping out of the defensive line, if you like, and he can then shuffle across and look after Valverde. But I mean, Real Madrid have passed the ball 33 times, 37 times, whatever it is, and they've been very patient and they've wore us down, and they've basically passed it until they've moved us into positions, out of positions where we don't want to be, and then they've seized their opportunity and just took it. And again, that's what these teams do. You could pick holes in the defensive sort of job they done for the goal, but in the end, Real Madrid are just class, and
I think
we're
that's
going to have.
It's a bit shit because of the goals we lost. It kind of alludes to this whole it's Ange's style and it's not going to work in Europe because we press and all the rest of it, and we were beating the counter, and we were for a number of the goals. But that first half, I thought we were so solid defensively. I thought we were very compact. We limited their chances. I thought we were really good defensively. We weren't getting caught, and I don't know if it is maybe like the gas is running out, but at the same time, even at half time, like I said, you had to scrape me off the ceiling because I was absolutely buzzing with the way we were playing. And then I thought to myself, we can't keep this up. But then I'm like, well, we've got Maeda to come on. We've got Turnbull's to come on. We've got all these guys to come on. The fresh legs and we'll be fine. It didn't work out that way the second half, unfortunately. But aye, to wrap that up, like what you said, Ross, what was that?
What Monty said there is.
I think as well, what people...
Bring that Monty one up again.
Was the press I think first half, the press was, give it 2 halves.
I agree with that.
I think what people are failing to realise, I genuinely think when we get further into this group stage, the midfield it's going to be a bit different. I think your man's going to play a big part. Abelgard, the guy was signed from Ruben Kazan, the big defensive midfield player. I can see him featuring quite heavily, moving Kalmak up one and keeping Hatate O'Reilly in that, because we'll have to understand as well, like, no matter what we're doing, like, our fitness levels, whether we like it or not, we're not up to Champions League level at the minute. It's obvious to see. We can keep it for 45, 60 minutes. It's that final bit that Ange always talks about to get to. And I firmly believe that with the players he's signing, we're going to get there. Whether it takes this year, there's a learning curve, we drop in the Europa League, or blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying I want that to happen, but it's a journey with Ange. He's always talking about it. It's evolution of his tactics. And what I loved, although people are saying it's an issue that we're conceding kind of the carbon copy goal, fair enough. But we've seen it time and time again. These players learn. It's not like under the Rodgers era where they're getting smacked 7-0 by PSG, 7-1 by Barcelona, and nothing's getting really picked up. We're still dominating the SPL and the cup competitions, but European level just seems to be swept aside for that type of thing. But with Postecoglou, he wants both. He wants us on both fronts, and I can see it happening.
Good positivity for Stephen tonight, man.
Aye, I like it.
By the way, see saying what you're saying about us and the way that Ange plays, I don't think there's many teams that could, like, Real Madrid couldn't play that way. Benzema would be on his arse after 65 minutes as well, and he'd subbed off. Like, it's not just I don't think it's a matter of the fitness levels for the Champions League. It's fitness levels to suit Ange's style, and I don't think there's a lot.
But see,
you need to be a finely tuned athlete to do what he wants you to do for 90 minutes.
Aye, absolutely. But see, when you're talking about the fitness levels, I think you'll find that the fitness levels will look better against Shakhtar and Leipzig, because Shakhtar and Leipzig will not keep the ball off as the way Real Madrid did and make us run thankless running. So I think you'll find that the fitness levels will look better in the games. And I think our fitness levels are good. Morning, Christy. Or good evening for here. But listen, we'll try and move on for the game a wee bit. But I want to touch on Haksabanovic again. He came on, another brief cameo. Again, for me, impressed. I enjoyed the drop of the shoulder, the shot. He had the confidence to go and do that against like a really good team. Wally, just come to you. Do you see him getting a start soon? Like, I mean, it might be domestically first. This weekend would have been as good as any, but that's obviously not to be. But do you think it will be domestically he'll get a start, or do you think he'll be thrown in on a European stage?
I think so. I think he'll maybe try and get him in, but it's difficult to. I mean, who do you drop for him? We've been flying this season domestically so far. Jota's been, everybody's raving he's the best player in the league. Abada's scoring goals for fun. Maeda can't get in. Where he'll definitely be given his chance, and he looks. There's brief cameos we've seen him. He looks a top player, and the way he described himself when he first joined about how he likes to beat players and he's a bit of flair and he's got a powerful shot and all the rest of that. You can see that in him. And he didn't look, like you said, to be thrown in against Real Madrid. It didn't look like he was overawed by the manner of where he was. He fit in perfectly. I thought he looked excellent in his wee cameo. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him. I'm glad I'm not the manager because I don't know how you're going to fit him in that team with the way we're playing now domestically. You can't drop Jota, and Abada's scoring goals for fun. I would imagine he's your top goal scorer. Maybe Kyogo actually.
Be far off it.
But I mean, how you meant to fit him in the team unless you just drop another defender and just put another striker or attacker on. It's difficult, but I think we will see more of him, and I think he'll probably be. It's hard to tell because you're only seeing a wee cameo on 10-15 minutes a couple of times, but it looks very exciting, and I think he might be a prominent figure in the first 11 in the not too distant future if we can fit him in somewhere.
Aye, well, I think that's probably where using the squad will come into it, and certainly in the run of games we were supposed to have, but we'll not go into that. But aye, Stephen, what did you think of him? Is it when he came on the other night, and do you think he's going to be a good addition to the team?
Well, I mean, I think it's a testament to him. We're 3-0 down. Postecoglou calls him to the bench. He's not having his head down. He's ready to go. He's ready to get in that pitch and make a difference. And he done what Jota didn't do for me the whole game. He took on the fullback and smacked a shot at the keeper, albeit from the front post, fair enough, but he still challenged the keeper in that front. For me, he likens to a faster version of Chris Commons. I get that type of vibe from him. He takes the ball in really well. He uses his body, his strength, and he can link up, and he has a really powerful shot, and he can whip a ball in as well. We've seen a few cross balls that he done. So I'm excited to see him in the team more. And I think we were speaking last time we were on, and you mentioned Haksabanovic could be a player, and he could be one that could potentially be in the first team in the next couple of weeks. We just don't know right now. He could just take it to a new level, and Abada could miss out or whatever, or as Willie said, he can maybe take Vickers or the ends out and just stick him in over the best. But he looks a quality player, and I think we've robbed Ruben Kazan recently. We've got Starfelt from him, Albagar from him, now Haksabanovic. He looks really, really good. He's positive on the ball. He takes it in tight spaces. He can play in different positions, which Postecoglou likes. So rotation to be put in there as well. And the squad is frightening, especially for the level we're at the minute. It's incredible.
Aye, and I mean, if he comes in and he does get a wee run of games and he's as good as what we've got out wide or through the middle or better, then I mean he's going to be a class player, and it only bodes well for the squad going forward in the season. But we'll move on to finally, probably this will be the last bit on the Madrid game. I've just tried to spin it out a wee bit because we've not got the Livingston one to look forward to.
I'm enjoying it, mate. Keep going.
Aye.
Me too.
So I was going to talk about Angie's disappointment in his post-match interview. You could see it. He looked visibly gutted, annoyed. We didn't get what we deserved for the first half. Certainly, he was. I wouldn't like what we've said. No clinical enough, fine lines, stuff like that. But Stephen, what did you take for the interview and his persona? Personally, I like the disappointment. He losing to the reigning champions rather than an acceptance. What did you think?
Well, I mean, previous managers would have come out and said, we played well for 40 minutes, we took them toe-to-toe, and if we took our chances, it could have been different. But Postecoglou's not like that. We've seen that. And I love the fact that he's honest. He looks so upset in that the post-match press conference he done. He looks so downbeat, in a good way, obviously, because he's seen that we can compete, and he wants us to be more clinical. He wants Maeda to smash that ball in the back of the net. He wants Abada to be more brave and confident in himself and take that opportunity. And I think we will definitely learn from it, because Postecoglou, he's come in, you look at last year, all the turmoil, he's overturned that. And you look at this year, the squad's in a fantastic place. And you've got the likes of McGregor putting the team forward, Joe Hart being them main kind of voices in the dressing room, Postecoglou as well. And just to hear him say that he was disappointed and the chances were took, and he wasn't making excuses. He wasn't making, for example, the money or saying we can't compete at this level because we need hundreds of millions of pounds, like another manager within Scully circles. It was all
don't have digs.
It was all we need to compete. He feels a responsibility. That was brilliant. He said that he feels a responsibility to have us up there every year competing in the Champions League. How refreshing is that, really? Do you know what I mean? You don't have excuses. You don't have fitness issues. You don't have money worries. He's just saying, play the football, trust my style, we'll compete. And I trust him 100% right now.
Aye, I mean, I fully agree with you there. And just come to yourself, Willie. Stephen had sort of touched on it there. Sort of, I don't know, I can't mind exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines. No, what Ange actually said. It was something along the lines that like this is an unbelievable football club. The supporters are outstanding, and he feels like a responsibility to get us to the level where we're competing in the Champions League, because it's what the club deserves and the supporters deserve. Something along the lines. Just talk me through your orgasm at that point.
Oh, that was it was very long, and there was a lot of strange noises coming out of me. But he's
go for it.
I love these. You know what? Like, if you stuck a microphone in front of me at the end of that game, I think I would have been in the exact same mood in the frame of mind, because I was absolutely devastated. But it wasn't because we've just been pumped or whatever. It was because the first half we were so good, and I just think if we nicked a goal, the result could have been so much worse. So I was so frustrated, and I was just gutted because we never. It's a difficult one because it's not like we didn't play well or that. I just because I think we could have took something for the game, and I think that was his feeling as well, and that's why I was frustrated. But to hear him say, as usual, just always says the right.
God's sake, man, big man.
As usual, he always knows what to say, and he's been saying that even before the game. To be fair, he said, "I just want us to be back where we belong, be a team that's competing in the biggest stage, which we deserve to be." And to be fair to him, after the last Lennon debacle, and all the Eddie Howe debacle and all that, if you told me we would be where we are now in that short space of time, I would have absolutely laughed at you out the door. And he's worked miracles in the short time he's been here. So imagine what's going to happen in the next few years with him at the helm. I can totally understand his frustrations. Like I said, I thought we went toe to toe with him in the first half, and we deserved better. And he's a winner. He's an absolute winner, and I think he believes in himself and he believes in his team, and I think that's why he was bitterly disappointed. And I was going to mention it as well. Stephen said it. If I'm one of his players listening to that, I'm going to run through brick walls for him. I'm saying to myself, see this next game, I'm going to run 3 kilometers more than I did here. And then across the city, you've got a man saying we need hundreds of millions to compete. We're not going to compete. If you're in that dressing room, how are you going to get motivated for the next game for that?
It's weird.
And I think that speaks volumes of the man. Absolute motivation. I think he could take a terrible player and turn him into a superstar. Fortunately for us, he's got top players, and he's turning them into even better players. I just love him. Just love everything about him. I kind of like. Aye. I'm so happy that I sent a thing in the group chat the other day, and I think Eddie Howe's been interviewed and asked about the Celtic, what happened over the summer saga, and he said it's his staff. He was told that he needed his staff if he was going to do it, and this was the only job that appealed to him. Thank God he didn't get the staff in, because we've got the absolute messiah. There's no way. By the way, see all this talk as well. There's no way Andrew's going to go to Brighton.
I can't see it.
He's absolutely well. If he was going to go somewhere, it would need to be a top team, and even then, honestly, I think that he's came in. We've took the chance on him when nobody else did. Nobody knew who he was, I think he's as loyal as he come. He knows the club. He talks about his passion for them before and how he's heard the stories and knows the club inside out. He's no finished here. He's not even started.
No.
I think there's a long way to go. If I was a board, I'd be offering him a 8-year contract and give him whatever money he wants. But I don't think we need to worry about anybody coming in and poaching him, because I really, really don't think he'll go anywhere.
No, I don't think he's that type of guy either, Willie. I mean, for me, he's always said that his dream was to manage a big club in Europe. He's managing a big club in Europe. If he goes to a Brighton, a Palace, just no disrespect to them, but they're in Europe, but they're not a big club. If he leaves Celtic, for me, he only leaves to go to a Man United, a Liverpool, Chelsea at a push, Arsenal at a push, teams like that. But he doesn't leave Celtic for a hang about in the lower echelons, mid-table, the English Premier League, because as you said, Willie, he's a winner. He's a born winner. He wants to be challenging for trophies. Mm-hmm. And if he goes to the teams, he'll do his very best to try and do what Rodgers done when he first went to Leicester and break up that top four. But that's your ceiling realistically, and he's not interested in that. And for me, you talk about his man management skills, the way he's got the players playing on the park and stuff like that. But the grasp that he's got in reality, even though the sort of circles he moves in, the money he probably makes, to still turn around and say, sort of paraphrasing the other night, he said something about, I'm not wanting the fans to it's no paying a bill. They're coming because they want to be here, and I want them coming bouncing into the stadium. I'm like, he just gets it, man. He just gets us. He gets the club. It's totally amazing. Just talk a wee bit about Ange, Stephen, before we move on.
Can I just nip in again there just to say, because I totally agree with every word Ross just said, but I honestly, this might be me just talking absolute nonsense as usual, but even the top teams in England, I'm not so sure. I think it needs to be right for him. It needs to be right for his family. I don't think he's one that's craving. I think he's happy here. We've bought into what he wants to do. He's bought right into us. There's a proper love affair there. He understands the manager merry-go-round down south and all the rest of it. He could be in a job for 2 months, do a good job, by the way, and still get fucking punted out in his arse, i.e. Tuchel and all the rest of them that's went before. I just think it's a perfect match, and I just think I think he knows that. We know that. And I don't know who it went up there, but it says I can never see a time where Ange would leave. I'm totally the exact same.
I would agree.
When you heard when you see the rumours and the bookies are saying that Ange's Chelsea are looking at him and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, my stomach was like, when I first read it, I was like, oh my god, I actually felt physically sick. But then when you think about it, you're like, nah, he's not going to go anywhere. He's when you sit back and look at it, it's like, nah, no anywhere in the foreseeable future anyway. Maybe it might. I think the time he'll leave, it'll be when he feels like he's done as much as he can do at Celtic. When he's got us to a level and he thinks we can't take us any further. And I think that's fucking at least 5-6 years down the line. I think he'll maybe go, you know what, that's just enough now. Aye, Joe, bang on.
Right, Stephen, take your moment, kid.
This is my moment.
No pressure. This is my time. Is that the way I go? I'd probably not the goes, but yeah.
No,
I think you look at Postecoglou, right, and he alludes to it with the players, right. If the players don't want to be at Celtic, they're gone. If Ange had one feeling in his body that he didn't want to be at Celtic Football Club, he wouldn't be there, regardless of a club chasing him, a club after him, money getting in his eyes or in his head. He would not be at Celtic Football Club if he thought his full ambition and his full feeling wasn't with that. So, no question, he's staying. I think Egyptian King here comes in with a cracking point if it can bring it back up. Funny how all the English media laughed at Celtic for signing Ange and either busting their holes to get him in the Premier League. 100% agree. This guy came in, by the way, under scrutiny, laughing about his coaching badges, saying he wasn't qualified for managing in a top league in a UEFA type of environment because he only had the Australian ones. He's come in, put gaffer tape round their mouths and told them to fuck up because he is unbelievable. He is this guy. Yes. This guy gets Celtic Football Club. He makes me happy seeing he's talking about us. You can tell he means it. It's not like in a sneaky snake way, the likes of Rodgers would have done it, by the way. Then he slinks out the door. He's up front. He's honest. He tells us what's going wrong, what he needs, by the way, when he wants players through the door. He wants it done quicker, which was done by Michael Nicholson. The board listened to him because he's not a man to be messed with. We've seen this before in his career. He will be there however long he wants to be. And thinking about him leaving does make your eyes water a wee bit. He's in my lifetime, I could probably go back to maybe Martin O'Neill, but even then I was a young kid and I watched it with my granddad. Didn't really grasp it all because I was still learning about Celtic Football Club and the way it's operating and the famous history and stuff. But Ange Postecoglou, in my opinion, since I supported Celtic, is the best manager in my lifetime. Just the way he speaks, and he relates to the fans so much. He knows that we're under pressure as a society, money issues, bills. He doesn't want us coming feeling like we're paying for a ticket out of like a what do you call it, like a season ticket or a choice. He wants us to come and enjoy the experience, watch the team play a certain way, go home happy, forget about your problems for 90 minutes. That other famous quote he done. He is a fantastic manager, and Celtic Football Club, whether they're going to offer him a contract or not, I think Ange, as I said, if he didn't want to be there, if there was a feeling in his body, he wouldn't be there. The guy is in Celtic. Enjoy the guy. Let's not wish him away because he's an absolute legend.
Just to hang in that as well. I totally agree with everything you said there, and I'm the same. And our era, like my era's like Tommy Burns and then Martin O'Neill and all that, and like obviously Martin O'Neill is like a god at Celtic, and that team he had was immense. And like Martin O'Neill was a man motivator as well. He made you feel 10 foot tall, but we never really seen that. I don't think with the media and stuff like that. We see it in Ange. Like every time he speaks, like you said, he's like a god. There's an aura about him. That's a great point, mate. Great point, Egyptian King. Aye. There's an aura about him. Like if I genuinely think if I walked by him, I would melt because he's like a godlike figure now. Right. And I totally agree. He's quickly becoming my favourite Celtic manager of all time. Also, in the football we're playing, I've never seen football like it. It's just, and I totally agree. Money's not. It's not even in his thought process. I don't think when it comes to. He always talks about He always talks about bringing the right people in. They need to be the right person and all that sort of stuff as well when he's talking about bringing players into the club. I think he's the same with how he talks about Celtic in a way that this club suits him. He suits the club, like we've said. It's like he's been sent from God for us, and it needs to be the right. It needs to be right for him. I don't think going to England, even the top teams, would be right for him. I don't think because he's totally in charge. He needs to be in charge of everything. You don't get that down there. There's a recruitment manager, a fucking loan manager, or somebody else signing the players, and you're just coaching them. That's not. Ange needs to be in charge of the full, and that's what he's got at Celtic, and he's got our respect. We've got his respect. It's a marriage made in heaven, and I just don't see him going anywhere in any time soon.
Aye, it'd be brilliant if he done like a Fairgate Man U and stayed for a quarter of a century.
Can you imagine?
Aye, sitting there well into my 50s, still with Ange.
And then especially this day and age, because like managers didn't last fucking 6 months now.
Aye. I think the main thing for Ange for me, like I can see him truly now, like but me in my own head can see him moving up like into like the football director role at Celtic and maybe bringing in like an understudy to him for him to kind of guide him through the process. But again, just to reiterate what you guys are saying, we could sit here and talk about Postecoglou for hours. The guy is he's a genius. And Michael McDonald comes in, football under Tommy was the best. I don't remember them times, Michael, but my granddad tells me great tales about the Tommy Burns era and how unlucky he was in terms of leagues and that. But Postecoglou for me is an absolute king. Unbelievable.
I think when Ange's done at Celtic, he'll be talked about like Larson and Jinky Johnston and all the rest of them. I think there'll be Jockstein, I think there'll be statues built to him, stands named after him. I honestly think he'll be here for a long time, and he'll. And
56 days.
His godlike status will be immortalised somewhere. I really, really do.
Aye. Mm-hmm. Aye. I don't think we can say. I don't think we can say much more on Ange. He's for me. He's probably my favourite Celtic manager of all time now. Somebody said there Burns football was the best football. Burns football was the best. Point. Can you imagine Tommy and Ange? Oh man. by some team, eh? But aye, Tommy Burns' football was unbelievable. For me, Ange is playing the best football since then. Is it better? Possibly. Time will
I
tell.
would say so. Just
I would say so as well. I didn't want to offend, but I would say so.
see, just as well. It's not just about like what he's done and the job he's done and how good a coach he is, and forget all that. See the person he is as well. We always see the stuff he talks about where it's like, for 90 minutes we want you to
That's what I
forget
was going to say.
goals and all that sort of stuff.
Christine gets it.
He's just a proper human being. Yeah,
like that's what you were saying there. Unbelievable.
Aye. I mean, that's what I agree with you, but that's what I was going to say. It's like the football that he's playing is amazing, and he's quickly becoming my favourite ever Celtic manager in that sense. But in the sense of a person, a human being, the way he talks to the fans, the way he talks to the media, just how he carries himself, he is, in that sense, my favourite Celtic manager of all time. Undoubtedly. There's not even close. But listen, we could talk about him all night. I loved that wee chat about him. Hopefully the viewers did. But we'll move it on, because what about an hour and 6? Oh, John territory.
It's Friday. It's
John
Friday.
territory.
We'll need to beat John's record of 5 hours.
Aye, for 1 point.
Referee special.
I just want to take the chance now just to remind everybody about the viewer takeover. In fact, I'll let you do it, Stephen. There you go.
Well, I mean, the viewer takeover, we all seen Kaiser, by the way, coming in. He did a fantastic job. He was brilliant. Out of the box character, what a fella he is. And he still watches the show regularly. He is a member, by the way, so you can take an option on that 99p a month to become a member of the channel. But the viewer takeover, something we're doing, bit of fun. Jed Thomas is the next on, which is next month at the last Friday. Every 2 months for now. I know Alistair Jack's on after him. So anyone who's interested, now I see a lot of people saying in the comments they're interested, but we don't hear from them in the socials. Hit us a message or tag us in something and we'll talk and we'll get you on. We're not going to say no. Do you know what I mean? We're here to have a bit of crack, have a bit of laugh, talk about Celtic Football Club, spend 4 hours on the podcast on about Ange Postecoglou. What else could you want? Unbelievable. Get involved, lads.
Yeah, I echo that. Anyway, we'll move on to a sort of. I was going to look ahead to Livingston game. Obviously, it's not happening. So we'll briefly. I know the guys are fucking lunatic. He is, by the way.
We love Kaiser on the pod, but he is a fucking lunatic.
Oh, aye. Mad as a brush.
He loves it, but he owns
it. Aye. So I was going to obviously look ahead to the Livingston game. Now I know on Monday night the guys will look ahead to. I can't mind who's on, but they'll look ahead to the Shakhtar game. But I thought we'd just briefly. We'll not talk about the game and too far into it to give the guys on Monday their opportunity. But just a score prediction, not even a lineup prediction. We don't need to go into it that far. Stephen, what do you think our chances on? Is it Wednesday night? I think it is.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Or afternoon. Everybody finishing their work early. Bloody joke. Anyway, score prediction for Wednesday night.
Wow, what a way to put me on the spot here. That's so much to say about that game. For me, I'll leave it at this. I think it's a must-win game against Shakhtar Donetsk. I'm going to get 3 points from it. So I'll go. I mean, they hammered Leipzig, by the way, in Germany 4-1. And funny enough, Marian Swede, a former Celtic player, got 2 of them. So quite interesting. It could be a
you
good
only signed the week before as well, I think.
Okay.
I'll go 3-1. Right now, I'll go 3-1 Celtic.
Right.
Wow.
That's a big bold statement there, Stephen. But I would take it all day long. Willie boy, what you think?
I'm also sure it's a must-win game. It's the away game. I think we need to beat both at home. We need to beat Leipzig and Shakhtar at home, and then hopefully pick up points away. I wouldn't say it's must-win, but you're not want to come away with 0 points for the first 2 games. I think it'll be tight, but I think we can get the win. I think I'll go 2-1 with a Shved on goal winner.
I agree with you. Like it's not a must win, but it's a must not lose. I think if Shakhtar pick up another 3 points, then second place. It's no out of reach, but it's obviously more of a struggle. But for me, again, must not lose. but I'm in agreement with Wally. I'm going to say 2-1, but I would accept any sort of draw in the match.
I agree with Paul Dyatt said it there. They're no mugs. I totally agree. I think
No.
I wouldn't be too disappointed with a point.
Well, listen, they are the mugs. They're in the Champions League, but people are getting a bit carried. Okay, they won 4-1 in well, it's no Leipzig, wherever the bloody hell they play. Is it Berlin or something? Wherever.
Poland. Oh,
they won.
Berlin,
They won. They won
Red
at Leipzig, right? They won 4-1. They had 5 shots. It wasn't like they were dominant. It was one of the nights where everything pretty much went for the keeper. Made a howler. I think one of Shved's goals was a deflection, maybe, and then the other 2 are they've hit them on the break. But listen, it's going to be a difficult game. But as I say, I would accept a draw, but I'll guess 2-1. We'll move on. That's sort of end of the podcast essentially, but move on to a couple of wee more light-hearted parts. So I was wanting to come to you and get your sort of predicted final points tally for Celtic in the group after all 6 games have been played. So I'll just come to you individually. Just if you think it's going to be a win, lose or draw. So well, we've already done the Shakhtar one. He's both think that's going to. He's both think that's going to be 3 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Are you changing it, Wally?
No. Yeah.
Shite bag.
Right. Leipzig. What?
I will actually. I will draw.
What you will what?
So 1 each. I think it'll be a draw.
All right. You think a draw? Right. Okay. Right. I think a draw as well, and you think 3 points, Stephen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
What is the fucking positive? What's Stephen on the positive train? Are you been at KFC? I need to get some of that in me. What's happened to you?
He's drinking, man. He's drinking. Wally, Leipzig away.
A win.
Win, lose or draw. A win. 2 seconds. You said a draw, Wally, the first one, didn't you?
Aye.
And
This is going to be absolutely horrible to look back on when we get all this wrong.
Oh, okay. Right, I've went for a win there. Stephen, sorry, what did you? Leipzig
I'll go
away.
a draw.
A draw?
Because they have that new manager bounce. They've brought in
Marco Rose.
Yeah, he's a very good manager. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. I'll go draw for now. Could change when it gets to the game, doing the predictions, but I'll go draw for now.
Aye. Wally, Leipzig at home.
Win.
Yeah, man.
You're so
Stephen.
cool, man. Can I be your friend? I'll go win as well.
And I'll go win. Shakhtar at home, Stephen. Wally.
Win again, yeah. I think we'll win both our home games.
Stephen.
Win, mate. Easy. Who's Shakhtar?
Never doubted it, Mr. Positive. And then
I last minute.
Oh, yes.
Mind that. Tremendous, eh?
Massimo.
That would be lovely.
Massimo Donate.
Aye, that would be lovely. Left you hanging.
You've got a fucking voice like an angel. I'm not going on.
And then finally, Real away, Willie.
Newport.
They might be done and dusted, but then we might pick up something.
I know. Ross has said it several times, though. I cannot wait to see us under the lights with that black away kit on against the white Galacticos. It's just going to be
amazing.
I've got goosebumps thinking about it, man. I really have. But I think Real will blow everybody away, and I think we'll get 8 points. Have we got Leipzig away still to go?
No, well, I mean, just hold your horses, kid.
I think we'll get a minimum of 8 points, and if we don't qualify with 8 points, then fucking I don't want to play the Champions League ever again.
Stephen, what do you think for Real away 0?
I think Liam Shaw, Albanieri, Mickey Johnson, all the come in, reserve team put out over there. Now we jump. We're losing that, like.
Right, so Wally's predicted points tally at the end is 3, 6, 9, 10 points.
Oh, have I? Did I say we'll
Yep.
beat Leipzig away as well?
Yep.
More on.
Stephen has got 3, 6, 9, 10 points.
Oh, there we go.
And so have I. That's. I mean, it could very well be 8, but let's go for 10. Let's go big or go home, eh?
We need to be more
100%.
clinical. That's the thing. I think we're going to score goals. I think we're going to concede goals.
Absolutely.
Yep,
It'll
agree.
be similar
Totally agree
to the Europa League campaign last year. He's right here. Pictures, man. I'm drawing what I think you look like. You want to see it, man? It's just like a big circle with like an apple on it. 9 points. Listen, I think we can get between 8 and 10 points.
I agree, mate. I think that'll be enough to get through.
8 might be tight. It would be touch and go. 10 points. If you didn't get through with 10 points, we'll just pack in. Pretty much.
I think it's going to be a lot of it might come down to the Leipzig Shakhtar return game. What happens there?
Aye.
A draw would be lovely for us.
You want to take
3
points for each of your home matches. That's the aim, and then as you say,
the Jets and Kings going bigger
away
than
from
boys. Wow.
Well,
Fucking
hell.
It'll fall off. It'll fall off.
You're not going to back it.
I tell you what, right? Say if we look at it, lads, right? I know we're having a wee laugh at the joke, and it's great. And the banter and the chat's fantastic as always. And by the way, can I point out the community? I mean, I love watching them talk to each other. It's great crack, and we all have a bit of banter. But like, we're in the Champions League, fellas, right? And we have to be ambitious. We can't just be there to make up the numbers. I expect us to take points and win games, and it'll be exciting. It'll be disappointing in some, which is fair enough. But for now, I'm confident with 10 points. I think we can do it. We've got the squad. We've got the manager.
That's the manager that's done that to
play
you.
the style.
If that was Neil Lennon you wouldn't have been thinking that. You'd have been thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, let's try and get Europa. That's the manager that's done that to you. And that's what I talked about on that Champions League pod we did live. And I was like, it's all fucking mentality. We've had worse squads qualify under Strachan, but it's because Strachan made the boys believe that they can beat these teams. And we can beat these teams. Of course we can.
Of course we can, aye. I mean, I actually thought we were going to beat Real Madrid 3-1 the other night. That's how much I'm believing in this team.
By the way, at half time, I was ready to put the mortgage. I was like beating them.
Aye, I felt it, man. But
you're in the airport, right, missus. We're going to gamble everything. We're not going home to nothing.
Listen, to finish up, I can't wait for Wednesday night. I can't wait to see us go toe-to-toe with a team that we can more realistically compete with. And I believe that the other two teams we can compete with. So bring on Wednesday night. Can't wait. But we'll move on to the final part of the show. Once again, Ross is hosting, so instead of a quiz, he's brought in the agree to disagree. Quite enjoy this part. I like everybody disagreeing with me in the comments when I give you my answer. It's great laugh.
Because you're a fucking dick.
You're a fucking dick.
You're a fucking dick. I've had 3 beers. You're a fucking dick.
So aggressive. So aggressive. Right, anyway, so
cheeky bastards.
Stephen will come to you first. So it's strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. This was in our group chat a few weeks back. I just thought I'd bring it to the table tonight. Andres Hinkle was a better right back for Celtic than Adam Matthews.
Strongly agree. Hands down.
Strongly agree.
Hands down.
And why?
Well, I mean, we got this guy. He had a bit of pedigree about him. He came from the Bundesliga, German international, 18 caps, I think it was. And although like me and McGrand had a wee joke saying he can't see and he can't pass, but I thought he was always solid. And he in European football especially, he brought his experience to the team. And I just thought, albeit he wasn't flashy going forward, he was solid. He defended really well. He kept his position. He played some great balls as well and did it up the likes of Fenniger Haslick and players like that. But easy. There's no contest for me. No contest.
And Wally,
I'm going to disagree.
Oh,
Oh, let's go, let's go.
I liked Adam Matthews. I think they were stylistically they're pretty dissimilar though. I think Hinkle was more defensive minded, and Matthews was more attacking minded. I really liked Adam Matthews. I thought he was a good all rounder, to be honest with you. It's a tough one though. I wouldn't say there's like. Again, I think this one's just personal preference. I don't think it's like a. Joe strongly agree. Hinkle was. I don't know. I think maybe Hinkle was more like a Tommy Boyd for me, like a stalwart. Like he did the job, but it wasn't like he didn't stand out or he wasn't spectacular. And I suppose as a right back, especially in that era, that's what you were. That was your job anyway. Whereas now more, it's more the wing backs are predominantly your biggest attacking threat. And I think Adam Matthews would have shone a bit more in this era, to be honest with you. But just personal preference. I think for me, Adam Matthews. I don't know if it's because of that time as well. Was more fondly remembered for me. My season book and going to the games and Gary Hoopers and beating Rangers 3-0 in the games and all that. And Adam Matthews was a big part of that. And he scored an absolute fucking screamer. I can't remember who it was against now in the league. It was like on a half volley right in the top bag. Monty, you need to come on the show, man. And I want to see you and us just square going. I think we should have a live square go.
I think,
on the show.
I think that would be a better draw than Fury and AJ.
Oh, 100%.
Egyptian King, like you can't be the German fullback. 100%. I thought, yes, Matthews is great going forward, but suspect defensively, in my opinion. Although one of his best, I'm going to contradict myself here, like one of his best performances was left back for Celtic against Barcelona when beaten 2-1. He was absolutely fantastic that night. But for me, Hinkle, I just thought for all rounder, like he
top knowledge, by the way.
Aye.
Thanks very much.
Played left back in that game. Well done.
He offered. I'm a very knowledgeable man. I think he's a school about football. No problem. But here, I think Hinkle for me, like he was an all-round player, bags of experience. A Scottish club signing a German international. Come on, boys.
I want a tag team match. Me and Ross, Monty and Stephen, square go.
This matches up. No problem.
I'll hold the jackets. Well, for me, it's funny because first, probably by the way, there's nobody weirder than me. It'd probably be a different weight class and everything. So
fighting Hasbulla.
Oh God! Cheers, mate.
Oh my God.
It's funny. You'd picked Adam Matthews, Wally, but you made the points that I was going to make in favour of Hinkle. I agree. I think Hinkle was better, and just purely because at that time, in that team, and in that era, you wanted your right back to be more defensive minded. That was his first job, first and foremost. And Hinkle done that better than Matthews. Like you say, Matthews is better going forward. But again, it's a personal preference. There wasn't a great deal between them, but for me, just Hinkle just shades it. So that's what was it, 2-1 to Hinkle?
Aye.
2-1 to Hinkle. Keep it going.
Can you all agree, man?
No. Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Adam Matthews.
What does he know? What does he know?
AMSC. Adam Matthews Supporters Club.
Right, the next one. I'll come to you first this time, Wally. Georgios Giacomakis is and will be a better player for Celtic than Georgios Samaras.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Oh my God, Ross!
Oh, it's so difficult.
Oh, you're a dick. Wow.
Samaras was brilliant for us, and he's a cult hero for us. But that doesn't mean that Giacomakis will only be a better player. You know, like Samaras can be remembered more fondly for what he did, and I think Giacomakis is a better player. Is that the question? Is he a better player?
Is and will be a better player for Celtic than Georgios Samaras.
It's difficult because it's however long he stays at the club. if he stays at the club as long as Samaras is, he's a far better player in my opinion. He's a better finisher, better striker. He can take the game by the scruff of the neck. So did Georgios as well. But Samaras, the most frustrating thing for me with Samaras was he was so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yep.
He could go 4 or 5 weeks, and this might sound like a lot of people might say you're talking shite. 4 or 5 weeks, and he was unplayable. Like, he could play against best defenders in the world and just absolutely ragdolled them. He had pace as well, could score goals, all the rest of it. And then at 6 weeks, he would just go missing, and he's just fucking terrible. He'd be the first person you'd hook on at half time. I think Giakoumakis is a better player than him. Yeah.
So you strongly or agree?
He's a better player. I see it's the question though. You've said he's better player or will be at his time at Celtic, but he could go next week. Well, no, next week in the next window.
But if he went next week, I'd still say he was a better player.
He's a better player. He is a better player than him.
So you agree?
Yes, that's exactly my point, Joe. He was so inconsistent. He would be, and I'm not joking when I say unplayable. Like, on his day, like, obviously there's the Rangers game where he rounded McGregor for when McGregor came out with 40 yards, he rounded him. Like, unplayable. He could go up against defenders in the Premier and the Champions League, top defenders, and like they couldn't handle him. But then the next week he would go away to fucking Dunfermline, and like you wouldn't even know he was playing. That was the biggest frustration for me. But I still love him, cult hero. But Giakoumakis is a better player,
aye. Stephen.
I
totally disagree. Yes.
Oh.
Because Giakoumakis started his career at Celtic a wee bit, not the level he is now, fair enough. He's improved greatly. Fantastic goal scorer, poacher type striker, one touch finish and all that. But Samaras for me in European games, one sticks out in particular against Spartak Moscow away. He was absolutely unbelievable. And just quite now, Giakoumakis hasn't given me that same feeling. Like, wow, he's unplayable. Samaras, when he turned up, and I have to be honest, he was inconsistent, but for them 5 games out of 400, he could turn up and he could smoke anybody, including the packet of cigarettes he probably done before the game. He could ragdoll people, as Willie said. When he played against Sevco, he tortured them. They hated playing against him. He tore them apart. The time he scored 2 goals, the penalty kick and that. Unbelievable player. He stayed at Celtic for, 7 years?
7 years.
Wasn't it? Yeah. And he always said, he was one of them players, and I loved when he said that money doesn't buy you trophies. He wanted his trophy cabinet full. He wanted
a big pay cut to come to us as well, mind.
Yeah, he wanted memories of trophies at Celtic, being a legend at us, and I believe he's a cult hero. He definitely is. He falls into that bracket, and just yet Giakoumakis hasn't really hit that for me, and I think that's fair. Like, Giakoumakis is a fantastic player in this system. He scores goals, but Samaras gave me feelings sometimes where you're like, get him on the ball. Get it. He played wide left as well most of his time. Just whipping balls out to him to control it on the chest, take out players and whip the ball in. You have to remember, like, he came in as a central striker. We moved him about quite a lot. That could have played to the whole inconsistent type part of his game, but when he turned up, he was fantastic. And for me, I disagree for now. It probably will change, to be honest. The Giakoumakis longevity and all comes into it, but Samaras was a Greek god and an unbelievable player.
I mean, you made a good case there. I still disagree with you, though.
See when I watched his debut in Kilmarnock and he wore orange boots, I was like, "Oh, Sammy,
wow.
Come on, man!"
It was unbelievable, that debut. Absolutely unbelievable. I thought we are on a class act here.
Mind his goal.
7 years. His mentality in that, like, he wants to win trophies, is for an Ange team. Does he get into the Ange team? I don't think so. No, I'm just giving my reasons. I don't think he does. For me, Giakoumakis is a better finisher. He's more consistent. And I think Samaras... That was a shiter, man.
Listen, Monty, you've got some good part about that was shit, man.
Samaras, for me, he was there for 7 years, and he did do some brilliant things. He had some great individual performances, but only a handful in 7 years. You could pick out maybe 5 or 6 games where you went, wow, he didn't do enough for me. And people look back and think of him because of the handful of games. I think they look upon him as a better player, and I think he goes into the higher bracket for me in the sense that folk make out he was a far better player than what he was.
Ross, take a walk.
It's just my opinion, kid.
You compared Samras with Ayer. Are you winding
I'm not comparing. I'm comparing them in the sense that people think Ayer is a far better player than what he actually was for Celtic, and it's the same for Samras, in my opinion.
See if Sammy didn't see from Ross's point. See if he didn't come for Man City and take a pay cut and stay as loyal for so long. See he came for the Dutch league like Giacomakis did and played 2 years and went away. Nobody would have he wouldn't have had the cult status that he's got. I think sometimes it's more you're thinking with the heart way, like what he's the longevity, and he did take a pay cut to come to us. And I said, on his, like, he was fucking unplayable, but he just wasn't interested a lot of the time. Gary Hooper did more in 2 seasons than he did in 7 seasons at Celtic.
We're missing a point here as well. Like, his journey is quite similar to Giacomakis. He joined City from Heverengen in the Dutch league when they were starting to spend money and on all that type of stuff. What are you laughing at?
Never heard
I thought you were going to get the big red book out there.
No, but like,
this is your life, Georgios Samaras.
No, but like,
here's your
he came to us. He had a downer in his career, right? He came to us under Strachan, revived himself. He stayed for 7 years. Fuck me, he wouldn't stay at a club for so long if he was, as Ross rightly said, put in the bracket that he didn't belong to. The guy was vital, especially in European football. I'm not saying he
didn't belong. He done well, but no often enough.
But you cannot compare him and Giacomakis right now. Giacomakis needs to do it over a long period of time. Samaras,
but Offie, what I've seen at the moment, Giacomakis has been more consistent in a Celtic jersey and he's got me off my seat more in terms of. Look at the goals he scored already.
By the way, everything you said, Stephen, about Samaras and it was just describing Giacomakis on me. He ragdolled players. You talked about the game where he totally took it to Rangers. That 3-0 game, Giacomakis didn't even score, and for me, he was man of the match. He absolutely bullied the whole team. Never mind the 2 centre halves.
But I think we're being a bit like downgrading what Samaras actually done for us. We're not remembering the times where he was fantastic, and so I mean he was a brilliant player. That's my opinion.
Aye. Listen, and that's what this wee segment is about. That's what it's about.
Any more?
One more.
Man. Yes.
One more. We're really, what are we up to here?
Keep it going. Who's enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it. It's good. Stephen's mortal.
I'm loving this. Lads, I had seen work.
Stephen, get the disco lights on, man.
Today. Work was crazy today, so I'm like unraveling it. Let's go.
Haksabanovic.
For fuck's sake. Right. The final one. Maybe a bit controversial, maybe, I don't know. I'll come to you, Stephen, first. Celtic will... I missed that. I missed the comment.
Put the comment up. You never said he was shite. He just says it sometimes.
Exactly. Right. Anyway, Celtic will go on. Stephen, Celtic will go unbeaten for the entire league campaign this season.
Disagree.
What for?
I think we'll have to tamper with expectations here. Like, I know we all love the way Postecoglou plays, but we've got domestic cups to think about. We've got the Champions League possibly after Christmas as well. So there's a ton load of games mixed in with the World Cup, and a lot of the times I think the squad will be rotated. Our strongest 11 probably only used for the derby games and the likes of Europe. So there is a chance for a team to nick a point or win off us, but I don't believe that would be the detrimental affected the season. I think it's just part and parcel. We've seen the other team across the city kind of implode the last week or so. And funny enough, Gio got his job saved, but sure, we'll not talk about that. But I think that for me personally, yes, I would love to do the invincible side of things again. Unbelievable. But sometimes that can become a burden on the players' shoulders when
I'm
they're
just
worried
meaning
about
the league campaign,
Aye.
mate.
No,
Aye.
100%. The league campaign as well. Sometimes I think players will think about that more instead of what way they're playing. Instead of the style Lance Postecoglou wants to play, they'll be thinking, shit, we can't lose the ball here. Maybe they won't be brave and decisive like they are at the minute. I just think the whole unbeaten thing is great to think of, and it's like a great narrative to spin. But at the moment, we have to be realistic. There might be a slip up, might drop 3 points, which is fair enough. We're 5 points clear at the minute, so technically we can afford to do that, although we don't want to. I disagree for now. And maybe ask me in January time when we're still flying and stuff, but just for now, I disagree.
Fair enough. William?
I'm going to agree. Not strongly agree, because certain narratives can happen in games, and we can, like, any team can beat any team. But Stephen made a point about how, like, we're in so many competitions and we can only, our first 11 won't play. For me, our second 11 could win this league at a canter and beat our nearest rivals. I reckon if we put our second 11 out on Saturday there, they still know how to play Angie's style. We always talk about how whoever's coming in. Oh, he must have had plenty, John. He's been so positive tonight. I can't believe it. We always talk about how a team's so good now because there's 2 players for each position, and when somebody comes off, it's not a drop off. The next person's coming in, and they're just as good. And everybody's fighting for these positions and all the rest of it. I just think that the depth of the squad. We've talked about how Haksabanovic can't get in the team now. I know he's only just signed, but he can't get in the team at the moment. I honestly think our second 11 could win this league at a canter, and I think we've got a very, very, very good chance of going invincible. The team across the city are not anywhere near the levels they have been in previous seasons where they've got results against us. I think it's a very good possibility we can go unbeaten. I just think the depth of the squad, the manager, his style, the way we're playing. If we get an early goal in any game, that's it. It's done, because we just go up a gear and we put 2 or 3 past them or 9. I just think we're really, really strong. I think that obviously domestic competitions. You're talking about the league, but domestic competitions and all the rest of it, where it's just a knockout game, might be different. But I just think we're unstoppable. Honestly, I just think the "We Never Stop" slogan isn't just a slogan. It's exactly what the team are doing, and I just think we're just rolling over everybody. And I can't see that changing anytime soon. And even in the past, you look at even last year before the January window, if Kyogo got injured, which he did, we're sitting going, "Oh Jesus Christ!" If Kyogo gets injured, we're no worried. We're going into the biggest game of our season so far on Wednesday night, and Kyogo's injured, and I'm not worried because Giacomakis is coming in, and he's good enough to be in that first 11 as well. Maeda isn't playing. Oh well, we've got Abada playing then. There's no ends. I just think that we're so strong, so strong, and I really think it's a massive possibility that we're going to go in with. There's nobody even frightened us so far. I know Ross County got the goal at 1 each.
Only team domestically to score against us.
And people's bumholes were going, but still thought there's 2 or 3 goals in us yet. I just think that we're steamrolling teams, and I can't see that ending.
Right. I mean, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to agree that we can go the entire league campaign unbeaten. I totally take on board what Stephen's saying. You could turn up and have an off day. It's entirely plausible.
Mm-hmm.
But the way Celtic are playing right now, nobody, the second best team in the country, never laid a glove on us, bar a couple of crosses that we didn't deal as well as what we could have. Other than that, Ross County have had a goal against us, but the game was never in doubt. We were always going to score again. We beat them comfortably. And I think that we've already went under Ange 38 games an entire league season unbeaten, albeit it's spanned over the two campaigns. But some of that was, or most of that was with a squad that isn't as strong as the current squad. And I think going towards January, if we're still unbeaten, the chances are we might strengthen again. I'm not sure.
That's frightening. That's frightening to think of, isn't it?
Where do you add to the team? But I mean, it could happen. So although it's entirely plausible that we could drop points somewhere or lose a game somewhere, it's also entirely plausible that nobody will get near us because of how we play and how we are playing and how we absolutely destroy teams with sheer pace, power, class, skill, and just, again, do not stop.
You can't see this no going into a game and no scoring.
Aye.
And
we'll score.
Aye. And if you add that into us, and even last season we had the best defensive record in the league, you add the two together, it's difficult to see where you're going to drop points or lose, to be fair.
I think you look at it as well. One of the most frightening things is, I know I said I disagree, and I still stick to that point, but when you look at the team and you go into the game and just say it's not working, we're not creating chances, we're not capable of scoring a goal, you can look at that bench and bring on, for example, Maeda. You can bring on Haksabanovic. There is options to turn a game around. We make triple sub now in the 60th minute to keep the intensity up, and you must, as an opposition manager, look at that and be like, how can I cope with this? How can I defend that?
Can you imagine being a fullback and chasing Abada all over the park for 60 minutes and then looking up and Maeda's coming on?
Oh,
you'd just be like, fuck that, man. I'd go down with a hamstring injury and just say, nah, you're all right, mate.
Even right down to James Forrest, who's quite far down the pecking order, but he can come in a game in the SPL and affect it and score. Yeah. He's done it already this season, albeit the game was done. Was it up at Ross County? I think it was.
Last week.
Listen, it's not the be all and end all. If we don't go unbeaten, that's not the goal at the start of the season. The goal is to win the league. I think we're going to win the league. I'm confident to be able to say that. But if we don't go unbeaten, I wouldn't be gutted unless we're still unbeaten with 2 or 3 games to go and we fuck it. But
I think I sent it to you in the group chat. I went on Sky Bet responsibly, troops, and it was only 18-1 for us to finish unbeaten this season. And the bookies are very rarely wrong. 18-1 to finish the season unbeaten. That's no right.
Mental. But listen, we'll end the pod at that because
do one more.
I've named me. No,
I'll give you one. Right? Agree to disagree. Stephen talks
right.
shite on this podcast.
Fuck
everybody, get in the comments. Agree or disagree.
I'm saying nothing. I'm just keeping my counsel. Nah, listen, that's as good a time to end it now. An hour and 43 minutes in. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. For some reason now, apparently when I host, we go on for fucking ever, but there you go. Listen, I'll let you just finish us off, Stephen. That sounds so wrong, but here we go.
Oh, man, don't get me started. Before we come on air, Willie had the chat. Willie, shows by that chest there. Come on, before we go here. Look at that, people. Look at that. Simon Cowell, our very own. But I mean, fantastic podcast, Ross. Unbelievable. I wanted to go on. Believe it or not, our viewership rate, our live viewers is going up. And we're 1 hour 44 minutes in. Quite incredible to think. But I do want to say, everybody in the comments and all, thanks again for the support. Sticking with us for this long. It's been fantastic. And you'd think because the weekend's football is cancelled, wouldn't have much to talk about. But look, 1 hour 44 minutes into it. We can probably still go on, but
could do it all night, mate.
Could do it 100%. All night, and we'll be back again Monday to look ahead to the Shakhtar game, and we'll be going more in depth and stuff and type of team news and that. But until then, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.